And we're back. Alright, it's been a while. I apologise. There's been a fairly disgusting heat wave where I'm at. And it's made doing most things kind of sort of impossible, if I'm honest. I got a fair bit done. But it was all stuff that involved power tools, basically. So I had to do it outside anyway. But I have I have a thing. So let me explain the thing real quick if the camera will focus, which it probably won't. Please focus. No, all right. I'll explain it from a distance. So I have the fiberglass thing from the plaster mold that I shattered. Then I took a rotary tool, cut all the crud off from around the edges. I sanded it all back. Again, Dremel, really. Hand sanded it to start with. That was taking ages, so I gave up on that. So I took a rotary tool to it instead. And then I used polyfiller to fill it in, smooth it off, blah, blah, blah. And then I went back in with polyfiller again to build up any of the edges that needed evening out a bit. I think that's the worst one, to be honest. Fill in any of the gaps along any of the ridges. And then also I used it to make a texture that is more stony. You can kind of almost see. Yeah, so I've deliberately left it kind of rough because I think that's going to be the best way to get a stone effect on the end thing. So my plan from here is to take the patterned template for this bit, lay it on top, transfer the details from the pattern onto here, trace it all, etc. And try and get this side of things done today, he says. Because I really just want to be getting on with everything at this point. Because I don't have long left to finish stuff. And I'm sweating over it, to be honest. So, the only trouble is things aren't going to quite line up. But I want to have this on here so that I can get a rough idea of where the snaky thing goes. Because I still have the old clay snaky thing. So I'm thinking if I heat this up with my heat gun and from underneath, try and bend it to fit to this, I'm in with half a chance. As long as I know roughly where I want this to go. Then do I even need to do that? Can I just wing it? Maybe I can just wing it. I think if I heat gun this, bend it to this, wing it, I can at least measure from here so I can try and mirror it on the other side. I think that might be the way to play this. So I also have the beginnings of the other snaky thing from a million years ago that I kind of sort of need to add to. Unless I was really, really smart, I made this snaky thing completely even, and then I could just flip it on the other side. Not a bad shout, you know. Just let me think. If it goes like this on this side, can I just flip it to be like that on the other side? Probably. Right, let me heat gun this. Because if I can avoid having to make another snaky thing, that would be extremely helpful. Because I am looking at the time at this point and thinking, I don't have long to contend with all of this. And the warm weather has really put a spanner in things. Really, really has. I'd forgotten how uninhabitable things become when it's warm out. So, what I think I'm going to do, I'm going to rob this for a second so I can faff over here. You'll just have to bear with me for a bit while I figure this out. I think the bit I need to faff with from about here. Okay. I want to heat it from the good side, as it were. I don't want to mess with any of the texture I've already got on there. So that would be bad. Needs a little more coaxing. It's definitely thinking about it. May just be a case of I have to faff with bits and pieces as and when I have to fix a couple of breaks in it, then meh, I suppose. So long as it's all fairly even, with half a chance. The only trouble with things like this is it's so trial and error with a substantial emphasis on the error, really. Once I'm done faffing, I'll bring it back over. It's getting better. And if I can just reuse this, that would be sublime. It's not a bad go, actually. It's not a bad go. Okay. Had a little faff with it. So I can get it around sort of there-ish. Fix a couple of little breaks. That's honestly not the end of the world. I'm not fazed by that. So that actually seems pretty okay. So what I'm going to do next is look at all of this. Because I want to try and get these mapped in, but also fairly even. I'm trying to think where's the best place to take it from. Probably around there, I'd say. I'm wondering whether I can just kind of scratch into this and it will translate. Oh, let me see. Not, then I'll go get some carbon paper, because that should definitely do it. But I'm wondering if I can just get one of these. I'll be able to actually see things. I might not. If that ends up being the case, then ho-hum. Not really. Kind of, sort of, ish, but not really. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run and grab some carbon paper, because you use that for sewing, for transferring markings, and it'll be the same principle. And I happened to come across a bunch the other day, mate of mine. They've got a family member who's moving house, and they happen to have a load of sewing stuff they're getting rid of. So I grabbed a bunch of carbon paper. So I'll go look for that. Yeah, that should help. Should help a whole bunch. So bear with me real quick. And I do mean quick. I will be back. Right. Got it. This stuff. If you sew, you've probably seen this stuff before. It's extremely useful. I'm hoping it'll work, because it looks ancient. I'm really, really hoping that it will do the thing. It just looks like this. You get different colours: yellow, blue, purple, red, maybe green, I don't know. But basically, you put colour side on the thing you want the marking to come off onto, then you trace on the back, and it has a little purple line by the time you're done. So, yeah. That's the plan. Oops. Didn't mean to kick the camera. I apologise. Hopefully, this time, can actually get a mark come up onto this. Okay. I whack this on here. That on there, and grey. Yeah, so it will work, because it's already coming off on there, which is actually pretty good. That's going to get on my wick, so thing under there to stop it wobbling around. The trouble is, I've not been awake for very long, so my hands are very unsteady. Courtesy of my meds. But I will do my best to try and be steady with this. As I say, my aim is to get all the markings transferred and really, I want to have the silicone down on this as well today. That's what I really want to be doing. Figured this bit was going to be tricky, but that's fine. Ha 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 ha. There are some marks on there. It's enough for me to follow. That's all I need. Right, awesome. So, using these, I am going to... what sort of... I'll just use a pencil. Use a pencil for now. Just to kind of go over those. Where's my thing gone? Where did I put that little slip of carbon paper with the pattern on it? It's up here. Okay, that's fine. Short-term memory. Why you gotta be like that, huh? Okay. It's just so I know which way these are facing. Because it's hard to tell. So that one faces that way, so this one faces up and in. Like that. And one faces into that. Yeah, I see that line now. Okay, that's fine. Faces up as well. Quite like that it sort of breaks away there. Comes back to the whole stony effect thing. I'm a big fan of that. So, because I don't want to smudge anything, probably going to try and scratch this in now. Bothering. Right. What have I got? What have I got that's fairly sharp? Got these. They're fairly sharp. Just how well am I going to be able to sort of carve into this? Because it's kind of soft, but it's not like super soft. No, I can get in there, that's fine. Because I'm very reluctant to use a Dremel on this. Because there's a distinct lack of control with a Dremel. I'd much rather do this by hand. It's just probably going to take a while and be kind of hard to see for a bit. That's not the end of the world. Probably a more efficient way of doing this. For now, serving a purpose. So I'll keep doing it this way for a bit. And if I at least have the grooves in, I can always go back over it with something more sensible. Then I'm wondering, get away with, like, more or less sort of chiseling it. It's soft enough that I can do that. And it works a lot nicer with a great edge. Yeah, I can carve into this. This is doable. And make some interesting ASMR. I'm not particularly worried about the dust because I've got the garage doors open. Everything is definitely ventilated. I'm not super pressed about that. I think this is going to be better than the spiky tool. I can get straighter lines with this. It's just hard with my hands. So dysfunctional. It's fine. Considered whether I try and make a chisel to this, but because it's soft, I'm reluctant. It'd be very, very easy to scuff it. I'm probably just going to stick to doing it this way, to be honest. As much as I love my Dremel, I don't want to use it for this, because I don't think I'll have the right amount of control. I think I'm much more likely to screw it up if I were to try that. So yeah. Okay, but you can kind of see what I'm doing with this. You can pick up what I'm laying down, right? It's gonna make my life any easier. Well, slightly actually. But yeah, I can just get all of these marks in. I can draw the next lot without worrying about losing any of my lines. That works better. It's trial and error. Oh, chat's died on my phone. Bear with. See, I have a message, but I can't see what it is. Nope, it still won't show me. I can just about read hello, so hello. I apologize. I'd have chat up on my laptop if it worked. Let me give it a crack real quick, because my phone seems to have given up the ghost. So let me pull it up on here. Ah, there we go. I see the vision. Hello. Hello. I'm gonna give up with my phone. It doesn't work. Don't mind the motorbike. Ah, the perks of living near a road. You'd think I'd get away with it this early in the morning, but no. Well, actually, I suppose it's 7:30 by now, so it's not that early anymore. Actually got up pretty late today. My alarm went off for the gym, and I thought, you know what? I choose sleep today. I had a feeling I was going to need it. And I think I was right, really. But I try not to get too particular with it, because this is only for the sake of not smudging lines. It doesn't need to be my nice final iteration. It's going to be you in about 4 hours. Yeah, sleep is good. Roll with it. Snooze the alarm and take the day for what it is. Oh, for sure. Definitely. Definitely. I'd checked the weather yesterday, and I'd seen that today was supposed to be cloudy, and I thought, ah, brilliant. Good. That's a day that I can actually be out in the garage for. Because the whole time it's been sunny, it just bakes the entire thing, and I can't work in there. It's super inconvenient. So I was excited. But good. Yep, I'll get up early, I'll go to the gym, I'll come back, I'll jump straight on it, and no, no. But in fairness, when I did wake up, I got straight up, ate something, and I ran straight out here. So, you know, love that for you. We have excessive heat warnings. Ugh, yeah, it's horrendous. Like, I'm no good with the heat. And today it's going to be like 23, which is still not fun for me. It had been like 30 odd degrees. I can't be doing that. I really, really can't. What materials are you working with? So this is fiberglass, and I have textured it with polyfiller, which is just like, you know, like for filling gaps and stuff in walls. It's that stuff. It's basically like a super fine cement, and yeah, I'm gonna end up molding this whole thing so I can keep that sort of stony texture, and then I will cast it again in more fiberglass. But it's mostly trying to think like what's sturdy enough for me to sort of manhandle whilst I faff with various. This whole thing has been just guesswork, in fairness. I can't pretend to know exactly what I'm doing because I don't. And it's rare that I will. But that is how these processes go. If you ever go into something knowing what you're doing, that is rare. Also part of the fun, you know, just figuring stuff out. But I will say it's much more fun when you're not sweating over deadlines. But that's also a rarity. You will usually be sweating over deadlines. Is this a chess piece? Yes. It's like a sort of lower lat piece. So like that'll be sort of spine-ish. And then that comes down low. And then there's another piece that goes on top of that, and then another one on top of that, and it's a whole layered sort of deal. It'll make more sense when I can get to the other pieces. But I've got to do this first so that when I'm layering stuff, I know that it's accurate. Because fiberglass doesn't have a whole lot of flex, which is, you know, the point. But, yeah. Oh, hey. I've seen lots of different people use different methods for cosplay pieces. I think it depends on personal preference. Yeah. Oh, yeah, totally. It totally does. And in the past, I've used EVA foam for pretty much everything. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to make my life difficult, and I'm going to try something new. And I'm going to do so for the sake of a competition as well. So it's not just new for the sake of new, it's new, and then yeah, I'm also going to try and compete with it. Because I really, really hate myself. But I'm sure that's fine. I'm sure it'll end up being fine. It's just everything before then will be very not fine. That's pretty cool. Thank you for sharing your process. You're very welcome. As I say, it's completely made up. So, you know, don't take anything I say as being like good advice. It just happens to be what I decided I was doing for this. So, you know. And there's still time for it to change or for something to go wrong or for me to say, you know what, I don't have the time. I'll just default to EVA. But I should have time. Should have time. What cosplay is it going to be? Aha. So it's eventually going to be my own spin on the Fierce Deity armor from Majora's Mask. I love the Fierce Deity character design, but I'm also a massive fan of the Twilight Princess game. So I'm doing a combo of the two, basically. Fierce Deity in Twilight Princess style. Because, you know, again, just making the armor wasn't going to be enough for me. I had to make it complicated. That's how these things go. I think that's the case with most people when it comes to creative projects. It's always the ambition, you know. You look at something and go, "Oh yeah, that'd be really cool. I could probably do that." And yeah, you probably could. Doesn't mean you should. But I committed to it at this point, so I decided, yeah, I'm just gonna make my life really hard. I'm hoping it ends up being kind of cool though. That's the aim. Okay, I can kind of see most of this sort of from a distance. So I'm not super worried about losing any of the lines anymore. So I can probably afford to start marking the other bits as well. Probably. I was always kind of sad how little you get to be Fierce Deity. Yeah, yeah, it is upsetting. There is there is a way. I don't know whether it's a glitch or a mod or what, but there is a way of playing him from much earlier on. I don't know how to do it though. In Breath of the Wild, it's an amazing set. Oh yeah, it's gorgeous. It is an awesome set. Definitely is. It's one of those things I'd wanted to make it for a long time, and I just had, you know, I never got around to it. I never had the time to devote to trying to do it, and then kind of got to the point where I was like, you know what? If I don't just do this, I'm never going to. So I will just do it. And now I'm here. So yeah, that's how that went. Just gonna stick a fan on real quick, bear with. I'd underestimated how warm it was still gonna be out here. It's a glitch. Yeah, yeah. It's a cool glitch. But it's definitely not how you're meant to do things. So I basically have a load of patterns that I've already drawn up that gives you an idea of how I'm designing the end thing. If but I gotta try and line these up so that they match the counterparts. So I can probably do it like this. So my car kept reading over 100 Fahrenheit when I went out yesterday. Ugh. Yeah, grim. It's this time of year. It's just not. It's not for me. I don't think it's for most people, really. I know a lot of people love, you know, time of year they'll jet off to hot countries or what have you, and I just look at that like, no, I can think of nothing worse. Really, that is my personal hell. I'm no good with the heat. Not at all. So, the way I'm getting these marks transferred is I'm taking the pattern I've already kind of mapped out and taking some carbon paper, kind of stuff you use for sewing, and just kind of scratching into it because it will leave a nice, in this case, purple line. So I'll know where I've been. And then this one, they're all facing the same direction, which is fine. Make it up a little bit as I go further down, but there. So that's how that works, and it's obscenely helpful. Crazy, crazy useful. I live in a swamp, it's not supposed to get that hot here. Jeez. Yeah, screw that. That sounds horrendous. Like, my tolerance for heat is extremely low. So it gets to like, what, 20 degrees Celsius? I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. And I'm already like, yeah, no, I'm good, thanks. I'm just gonna not. So it got to 30 a couple of days ago. Stayed indoors. There was no way. Absolutely no way that I was going outside in that. Oh, okay, I mean, so I didn't go out during the day necessarily. I got up early, went to the gym, etc. And then I went for a walk. And then I got back to the house around sort of 5-ish in the morning. So by that point, it was already getting uncomfortably warm. Not fun. 20 is nice. Nah, nah, nah. 68. You'll vibe at that temp. You can vibe, I won't. There's no way. 30 is 86 and I'm melting. Jeez. You said it was 100 in the car. Ugh. Good God. Honestly, this time of year, like, if I could just skip it, that would be great. I'm no good with it. I'm really, really not. It doesn't like me and I don't like it. We have a mutual disdain. Hit 40 in your car. Good. No. Uh-uh. That is. Thank you for providing me the context. That is absolutely no. Is the biggest no. Under no circumstances. You have aircon though? Like, can you just kick that into effect before you have to like actually get in and go anywhere? Because you were at the gym. Nice. Solid. But you swim. Oh, okay, cool, fair enough. I'm assuming you're in the UK. I am indeed. I'm indeed in the UK. which I probably gave away by the whole degrees Celsius and also accent. Now, judging by the whole swamp thing and Fahrenheit, I'm going to assume you're US? Also, time zones being a thing. If someone's dealing with C and also asking about AC, yeah. Yes, but you probably won't guess where in the US. No, I don't think I would. I don't think I would. My geography is bad, so even swamp isn't really going to be enough for me to go off of. Not really. It's not somewhere people think when you say swamp. Then I definitely wouldn't know. I'm no good with stuff like that. Anyway. NY on the side that touches the Great Lakes, not the city. Good grief. Okay, yeah, no, I never would have guessed that. Never would have guessed that. Because I was all like automatically assuming somewhere down south. When you said it's not where you'd expect, so, okay. Then probably not that, I guess. Yeah, no way I would have guessed that. And as I say, my geography is bad, so not really saying a whole lot. Yeah, the US has a wider variety of climates than you think. Yeah, I suppose, because it's massive. Covers a hell of a lot more area than the UK does. And even here, in fairness, you get a fair amount of variation between, say, the south of England and Scotland, etc. I'm always jealous when it's a much lower temperature in Scotland. I think, ugh, why couldn't I just be there instead? Instead of dealing with the heat. I don't want it. Really don't. Which is why I jumped on the chance to actually do something today. Oh, there's going to be a slight lull in the heat. Yeah, cool. Don't mind if I do. I will absolutely jump on that. Definitely. I have to take this one further down because of this. More like it's fine. My parents visited Scotland, I think it was last year or year before. They were having heat advisories that week. Wow, that's nuts. Yeah, If it's happening in Scotland, it has to be bad. Last year, though, that's surprising. Because I remember, as far as heat, it wasn't actually that bad in the UK last year. Because I dread it every year. Every time the summer rolls around, I'm just not happy. But I seem to remember it was like it sucked, but it didn't suck for as long as I expected it to. Especially because I had a couple of events and stuff that I was doing in the summer, and I thought, please, please no. Have mercy on me and my intolerance of the heat. That's the trouble, is that most people enjoy the summertime, which means that most outdoor events tend to happen in the summer. And I just kind of have to weigh my options up. Like, do I just miss out on this really fun thing? Or do I choose to suffer? And historically, I would just say, nah, that's not worth it. But now I'm getting better at choosing pain, basically. Getting more accustomed to just going, you know what? I'm going to hate this, but I will be more annoyed if I don't go and do the thing. I'm getting better at it. I think the biggest problem is that it's not regular for you guys to have AC. Yeah. So I have it in my bedroom because I have heat problems and I need it. But most people don't have it. And, you know, it's always one of those, the whole time I was at work, I'd talk about having it and people would people would laugh until it came to summertime and they couldn't sleep and I'd rock up to work like, I slept great. How are you guys doing? Uh, and they would rightly hate me for it. But it's one of those investments for me that's like, well, it's a no-brainer. Like it's just a requirement. I need to have it. That's not bad. Yeah. It does mean that I've just been staying in my bedroom for like the last couple of weeks. That sucked. That's that's been a whole heap of cabin fever, really. Because I'm actually a fairly active kind of guy. I like to be out and about and doing stuff and you know being busy and productive and what have you. And it's like, yeah, I managed to get a load of work done as far as admin, but also I'd rather be doing this. You know, like admin is a necessary evil, and I get it. But at the same time, it's like I just kind of want to be making stuff. Really, I know what I'd rather be doing. And that's kind of limited indoors because most of it is a mess, you know. I did a summer job where I rented a room that had an AC unit. It was pretty nice. Yeah, that sounds pretty solid. I kind of miss having a small room to take care of versus a whole house. Yeah, yeah. See, like I don't know. It's one of those. I live with family at the minute because property prices are ridiculous where I'm at. Um, and it's like, it's just the three of us. So, and as much as I love them, it does come to a point where it's like it would be really nice to have my own space though. Like I appreciate being able to commandeer the garage for my various projects and nonsense, but it's like it would be really nice to have my own sort of areas. That is something that I think about quite a lot. Real estate prices and rents sucks right now. Oh, it definitely does. Make money and save up if you can, for sure. For sure. I'm a fairly relentless saver. So got quite a bit that's just set aside. But even then, it's just kind of still fairly limited on what you can do with it. It's just one of those, when you're working 40 odd hours a week and you're not making enough, even with overtime, to afford to live where you work, it just is kind of soul destroying. So it's one of those things. For now, I've just kind of put a pin in it. Like, okay, that is the end goal. But I'm lucky at the minute in that I have somewhere I can exist and I can pursue all of the things that I want to be doing. And that's way more than a lot of people are able to get. So I am definitely very aware of how good my situation is. Once you're in a house, most projects become the house. Yeah, that's the other thing. Is definitely the other thing. Whereas at the minute, I'm very lucky to be able to faff around with all the bits that I do. And I'm working on just kind of capitalizing on that, to be honest. Like a lot of my mates have got married, bought houses, working on having kids, and I just think, okay, great, but like I've got too much I want to do, you know. I'm too busy for anything like that. I would kick myself forever if I started looking at all of that now. Didn't do all the things I wanted to, and it sounds it sounds kind of selfish, but it's I think a lot of people tend to jump into adulting very soon, and then they kind of are annoyed to have missed out on various. I got married, but I don't want kids, and I found someone who agreed. Oh, that's huge. That's another thing. Is you'll find a lot of people who do want families, but you won't find many that are cool without kids. That's something a lot of my friends encountered and continue to encounter. Because all the friends I have that are married, they do want that. So, power to them. You do you. But I'm definitely someone who's not interested in having kids. I'm highly ambitious, and it comes across selfish, but I know from the experience I had with my own parents that, like, if there are things you want to do, then do them and don't have kids. Because they just kind of ended up resenting it. And everything that you came to them with was just a burden. And they just kind of ended up annoyed having to run me around or look after me or whatever. So, you know, it's whatever your priorities are, I suppose. Just know what they are. How else? How else you rich family defeat the vampire? That's fine. I get it. I get it. But yeah, it's just one of those. It's one of those. I think a lot of people don't quite know what they want. They know, they think they know what they want, but they don't actually know what they want. And that's fine up until the point you bring a kid into it, because they didn't ask for any of that. They're just there. They didn't have a say. It's not fair to kind of burden them with your life choices. I'm saying "your" as a general term. I'm not. This isn't aimed at anyone other than my parents, I suppose. But that's a whole other story. The main thing is just knowing yourself, knowing what you want, and then being pragmatic about it. I think it was a generational thing, really. The whole, you get married, you have kids, that's just the next step. That's just part of the process. And these days, I don't think it is part of the process. I think there are lots of people that are totally happy without having kids. And I don't think there's anything wrong with choosing that for yourself. I think historically there's been a lot of emphasis around tradition, and that's just the dumb thing, that's what you do. Now, that's not really a major consideration. Not really. You got options now, you know? I mean, you can still choose to go with your traditional nuclear family, etc. There's nothing wrong with that either. For me, the main thing is choice. You should have the choice when it comes to your life. Autonomy is important. The way that you conduct yourself should be down to you, not anyone else. We're all individuals. Doesn't mean that we have to stand out or be different. But we're still individuals. It's important to remember. Ultimately, you just do what makes you happy or what you find fulfilling. As long as you're not hurting anyone, you do you. Always been my stance. You know, as long as it's not hurting anyone, I don't care what you do. And I've always been very objective like that. It's one of my more black and white takes, I suppose. I've always just looked at it like, okay, well, it's none of my business. So, you know, do what you like, really. I'll never understand people that kind of insert themselves into someone else's business. Not really. That's not to say I don't judge people and stuff. Definitely do. It's one of those things like I can recognize that whatever I'm thinking or feeling is exclusive to me, and that's how it should stay. And that's how it does stay. It's like I think most of us are guilty of enjoying trash TV and stuff like that. And it's one of those, yeah, I'm enjoying judging these people right now. I would never assume that I had any kind of authority on their lives. Like that would be nuts. There's just no way. And it's the whole kids argument. Like I would never say to anyone that they should or shouldn't have kids. Like I can provide my arguments for or against, but those are exclusive to me. They're nothing to do with anyone else. I'd never try to make myself an authority on anything that anyone does. Our experiences are our own. Context matters. you know, you do you, really. That's the takeaway. You do you. Don't bother me. And it shouldn't bother anyone else. Alright. You try and get the other ones on the other side. Try and map this up best I can. Don't mind me when I go off on my little tangents. I'm not trying to be deep with it, just making conversation, really. I think that's a lot of what streaming ends up being, for me at least. And it ends up being a monologue, more or less. I'm gonna get a little less deep. Looking forward to any new animes coming up. um, so here's the trouble, right? There's a bunch of anime that I want to watch, or that friends have told me I should watch, but I never get the time. So, for me, the only thing that I'm definitely going to watch is Steel Ball Run. Definitely going to watch that because I'm a JoJo's nerd. In case my cosplay name didn't make that obvious, I will for sure be keeping up with that. That is definitely exciting. But beyond that, it's like I actually have no idea. Really don't know what else is going on at the minute. Because I read through Steel Ball Run with a couple of mates years ago, and we had a really good time. We used to hop on a Discord call, and we'd open up a PDF and we'd read through it together, and we'd voice all the characters. We did the same for Stone Ocean. It was really funny. But it was also really weird when we sat down to watch Stone Ocean and the characters didn't have the voices that we'd given them. That was actually like super jarring. I've caught the manhwa bug lately. Solo leveling got me reading them all. Oh, I've heard of it. But I haven't seen anything. I think quite a few people have been talking about it. But I can't say I've got any ideas on what it's actually about. But I've heard good things. just a decently done isekai that's really good in the beginning. Well, fair enough. Fair enough. My experience with these things is very limited. I think I've only seen the first 2 seasons of My Hero, which is horrendous because that has been a thing for ages. So I still haven't seen Attack on Titan. I still haven't. And that is painful to a lot of my mates. Full Metal Alchemist, still haven't seen. Again, agonizing, and I can only apologize. I'm very, very slow on the uptake. Because I'm just obscenely busy all the time. Attack on Titan is better than My Hero, in my opinion. Fair enough. I was an OG Full Metal fan, not really into Brotherhood, because Winry was too annoying. As I will say one that I have seen that I really enjoyed was specifically Hellsing Ultimate. That was great. The other version of Hellsing was odd and markedly less great. There were some weird parts that didn't need to be there. Hellsing Ultimate was really good. I had a lot of fun with that. I've not watched that in a very long time. My schedule's just too weird. Too weird to fit in watching stuff. Like, because my days are just structured to focus exclusively around work and a minimum amount of sleep. So I don't have downtime in my days. They are exclusively productive, which I'm working on. I'm working on changing that, but at the minute, that is just how they go. So maybe eventually I'll get my own time. At the minute, any time like that, I just dedicate to working. Really, I'm one of those people I can't relax. It just doesn't compute. There's a lot to watch if you haven't kept up. Yeah, yeah. That's the other thing. It's like there's no way I'm going to be able to get around to everything because I'm so far behind. I'm kind of having to pick and choose at this point. it's I'm the same with movies. Like I haven't seen a lot of very popular media. And it frustrates a lot of my friends. I will say, I think the biggest one is Lord of the Rings. I've not seen Lord of the Rings, and that stuns a massive chunk of my friendship group because they know that I would be absolutely enamored with it, and I believe them. But in what universe am I going to find the time for all of that? Like, I genuinely expect at some point someone will rock up to kidnap me just to make me watch it. I don't think that I would try to stop them if they did, in fairness. Bro, you gotta watch Lord of the Rings. It does take an entire day. Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like I know that it's a thing that I need to do. I'm super, super aware. But it is just that whole like epic when though. Like I'm sure once I've finished with all of my deadline projects, I'll be able to figure something out. But until then, it's just like I don't I don't have the time to spend on stuff like that. Like every single day that I have, I am working on something. Even on like weekends and stuff when there are friends around, it's like no, in the mornings I will be working. By the time they wake up, I'll be around to do whatever, but like in the morning I'm working. That's just my thing. Like I don't get any enjoyment out of not working. It sounds messed up, but I suppose being idle, right? Like I don't get any positive effects from being idle. Like I can't do it. It's not a nice feeling. Entire day if you watch with no breaks, jeez. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, no, I'm not spending a whole day watching stuff. I would just go mental. Okay. So, this is looking vaguely acceptable. Acceptable enough that I can do other bits without worrying. So, now to address the elephant in the room, or I suppose the snake in this case. What I'm expecting to have to do is mold this in a couple of separate parts. Watch it while you eat or something. Yeah, see, I only take like 20 minutes to eat though. That's, again, because I just I'm busy. So I'm like, oh, I have to eat something. That's inconvenient. Let me do that real quick and then get back to whatever I need to be doing. So I'd have to watch it in like weird 20-minute increments. And then it's going to get annoying. I'll fuck it up eventually, and I'll just like actually commit to watching the whole thing. I'm expecting to have to do it with the intervention of friends. That's the only way I can see this working. I fully expect to be kidnapped. It's the kind of thing that like we used to do if we went on like a group holiday. We'd find a movie and we'd all sit down and watch it. But again, because everyone's getting married and buying houses and yada yada, like we just haven't managed to get together in a while. So, you know, and it doesn't happen. It will happen eventually, but it's just one of those things, really. What is going to be the best way to get you to stick on here? Thinking maybe just warm clay underneath, stick you on top, and then faff. Because I don't want to glue anything. I'll need to take it off again. So, yeah. That's going to be the aim, is to get this stuck on here. And then I can mold the first piece, demold it, take this away, mirror it on the other side, and so on. Hmm. I think that's going to be the way I end up dealing with this. I have to make sure it's in a decent position before I commit to it. It looks pretty okay. I think I need to take it down slightly. Right. I think what I will do is give this a rough one of these. Rough one of these. And then I know where I'm sticking stuff down. Try and get this to then stick on top of. So, as far as clay that I can just heat up and not care about a whole bunch, probably a fair whack of this. This means that I'll have to turn my fan off while I put the heat gun on. Ugh. Is a necessary evil. Oh god, my feet are sweaty. That is disgusting. been stood kinda still for a while. I hadn't clocked it. That is grim. Alright, cool. Keep this up. I'll bring it back over. And stick it where it needs to go. And what I'll probably end up doing is heating it again once it's in there. Before I slap my plate on it. That's that whole trial and error thing. Ideally, I want it to be more liquidy. So I reckon I can get a snaky thing rolled out and stuck down. I don't like rolling stuff out on here. I don't want to mark it, but also it's going to matter a whole bunch. They're just pretty scuffed anyway. Just usually will roll stuff out on like a plastic mat so that I'm not getting things covered in oily clay residue. That's probably fine, right? I said that. Yeah. I think if I try and get this to sit on there, I'm then going to take this whole thing and the snake over in the heat gun. Check that's definitely the way it wants to go, which it is. I'm going to see if I can get this to stick. I might not. Who knows? If it doesn't, I'll think of something else. I just mush this down on top. Actually stick. The answer is kind of, actually. Kind of can. Right, that that went better than I thought it would. Cool. Not perfect. I think I can make it work. Scratch that, it fell off. Right. Knight's new plan. Oh. I think I may just have to do this the old-fashioned way. It's going to take a while, but oh well. I think I'm just going to have to do it piece by piece, rather painstakingly. That's going to be annoying. Okay, right. What about... What about... I've got... kind of tape it-ish, but not really. Maybe I do just... but then I really don't want to glue it. That's the thing. I really don't want to glue it, because I'm going to need it. Maybe I can hot glue it. That's going to be easier to get off than... Maybe that's how I do this. Just have to be very quick with it. It's the only thing. Unless I did it time. This bit stands away anyway, so if I glue the first bit down here-ish, half of the last bit. Okay. Yeah, okay. I'm going to try and hot glue it on. I think my hot glue gun is still in here. How am I going to get in here without wrecking my setup? Ooh. That wasn't so bad. Alright. Oh, that's fine. I can do that. What plugs have I got? I can use that one. Do that. I always flick it up to be high because it's just quicker. Whack a glue stick in there, and then what do I have that I can rest this on so I don't get glue everywhere? Probably use this. I think it will melt. Yeah, that seems fine. I'm sure that's fine. Oh well. Right. So, new plan is I'm going to whack some hot glue on. Make sure that this is facing in the direction it needs to be, which it's not. It's this way. Or I'll whack some hot glue on and pin it down. That. And hopefully that'll just stop it moving around. All I really need it to do. So, yeah. Then once that side's done, I can finally mold that piece. And then because silicone sticks to itself, should be able to then peel away a bunch, take this, mirror it on the other side. And then, yeah, should be okay. I'll probably have to fiberglass jacket it as well. But yeah, I reckon I'll do about halfway. Then I will half and I will steal a bit. Heating up. Taking a while. I think that'll work. Really hope that'll work. I can mess with this slightly as I need to. Once it's stuck on there. That's not biggie. And to be fair, anywhere it cracks, it's just going to look better. Because that's kind of the effect that I want from this whole thing. Fairness. Deal with that off with that. It's not biggie. Only thing I am slightly wary of is let's glue there. Excellent. I don't want to have any glue come out sides. So one of those. These. And then spray. Be enough to hold the thing. Probably going to be fine from here, but I'm going to hold it anyway. I'm going to give that a second. Give it a second to cool down again before I mess with anything else. I'm going to try to get some in and under here. Then glued on. Huzzah. I think that's going to be a lot quicker than mucking about with anything else. So that's nice. Ooh. Thank you, glue gun. I'm gonna, because there are quite a few gaps here and there, I am gonna put some clay in and under where it's kinda needed. I could put glue in there, but then I don't want it to wreck the texture I've got going for the rest of the thing, so I probably won't. I will probably not do it like that. So, let me see what I've got. Oh, it's actually raining outside. That's awesome. Oh, yeah. Love to see it. No, I do. So there are gaps in bits like under here, right? So I'm going to try and fill those in real quick. And past that point, I should actually be in a pretty good position for just casting the thing. Or molding, I should say. Just molding the thing. Fill in some gaps first. Yeah, hot glue was absolutely the way of dealing with that. So I am aware I'm saying that for trying to get this whole thing off again. So, you know, I could be wrong. But as far as like this initial step, like, yeah, absolutely, this was the best way to deal with that, for sure. Deal with the worst of the undercut. It's the main thing. In fairness, you know, it's not particularly easy getting this little dollop of glue off, but it is completely doable. So hopefully actually bodes kind of well as far as removing this. Not that I'll be able to do that today anyway, but even so, it deals with that little bit. And what about the rest of these? So I can probably plug a lot of these gaps. Yeah, you just take this along and do this. This is fine. That's okay. These aren't gaps anyway. They're all fine. I like the cracks in various places, so I'm inclined to leave those. Under here seems pretty okay. Not too bad. All along here sucks though. Okay. Okay, I can fix that. Big old gap up here. So I will plug that with this. Bunch up along here as well. Noted. Should just be able to take the rest of this away. That pretty much deals with that. Just have to try not to make it too nice. That defeats the purpose. So very typical of me. Just smush that down another. So that's then. Just get rid of the excess. I'm just very conscious of trying not to scratch things. Scratches will end up pretty visible on the final thing. Which was the whole purpose, in fairness. Yeah, there's a big old gap in under there, so that needs fixing. Deals with most of it. Yes, I wanted it to be a rough thing. Undercut is still an undercut. I don't really want to be making extra work for myself at this point. Not if I can help it. Nice breeze coming through the garage now. Very, very welcome. In a good couple of weeks at least. It's just been really quite difficult to exist. Little glue thread here that I'm going to get rid of. Don't want to be faffing with that particularly. All of these, I'm hoping, just kind of smush a bit down, flatten it out, in and under. I don't have to actually add anything to that. It's tiny little undercuts are not ideal, but like that's pretty easy to see where things shouldn't be. If I end up with something substantial, it's going to be hard to see what I should or shouldn't cut away from the end mold. So it's just better to not have to deal with that, to be honest. But yeah, I can faff around with the file thing, but it all takes time. It's time that I really don't have a whole bunch of at this stage. As is always the case. I say it every time, like, oh no, this time I'm going to be done, like, way sooner than I need to be. And in my defense, I always mean it. It just never works out like that. It's not in a bad position. Just try and get rid of some of this. I really want to have smooth patches around it. That's just kind of a giveaway as to how I made this in the first place. But I also don't want scratches. So silicone will pick out literally every detail. Which makes it important to have everything set up exactly as I want it beforehand. It's like up here may end up being discernible in the final texture. So I'm going to get rid of them. That's why I was reluctant to put any clay around it to begin with. Didn't want to have a bunch of weird smooth areas. Having spent as long as I have trying to texture this thing, so I reckon I can just tidy all of this up. Well-ish. Get rid of all the smooth bits. Leave it looking pretty rough. And then whack a ton of mold release down. Because it's polyfiller, so it's meant to be painted, you know, so it's pretty porous. So I'm gonna have to whack quite a lot of mold release on here. But I don't want to do it so much that like you lose the texture. It's the kicker. The texture's the important bit. And that's why silicone's such a good thing to use for this, because it peels off pretty easily from most things, other than itself. Not looking too bad. I like the cracks in it. Cracks and holes are different. Hole is going to be a pain. Let me try and plug this hole real quick. After that, I think we're actually in a pretty good position to start molding things. Finally. And then I'm going to have to be a little bit smart with how I approach it, because I want to be reusing the snake. So, yeah. Because I want to be reusing it, I may fill in some of the cracks, some of the bigger cracks, so that by the time I take the silicone off, I'm not destroying anything. I just use a teeny tiny bit. Just to plug really deep parts. Its cracks are cool, but don't want it to end up damaging or inhibiting really what I can get away with. Looks less like a crack now. That's slightly better. If I just, okay. I had to knit stuff together a little bit. That's the better way. Better. Just really need to be able to get this away in one piece by the time I'm done. Or at least in a collection of salvageable pieces. I'm going to be a little bit careful about what I can leave open. I think that was the only one I was particularly worried about. Fairness. This one's a little bit sketch. Make a feature out of that one as well. Seems pretty okay. As far as undercuts, I don't think any of these are going to be a problem. As far as cracks, I don't think any of those are going to be a problem. some light undercut this front though, which I am going to deal with. Just to play it safe. There's no point coming this far and not playing it safe, to be honest. It is considerably better. I don't think that tiny gap's going to be an issue, but just in case. I am then pretty okay with that, to be honest. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some pics, because I always forget to do that, and then think about how best to approach the mold release for this. So, we quickly take a bunch of pictures. So, don't mind me. I can hold anything still, which I kind of can't. Always better to take too many pics than not enough. My stance. So, with this the way that it is, I'm thinking what would be sensible would be if I... How long have I been going for? Okay, alright, a couple hours. So I reckon what I'll do is I will end this stream, give myself some time to tidy all this away, down a plastic sheet again so that I'm actually ready to mold stuff properly, and then I will come back to do that. So I'd say give me at least an hour or so, really, before I can be ready to deal with that side of things, and then I'll come back and I'll contend with that. So yeah, I think that's the way I play the next stage, because I've got to figure out the most sensible means of moulding this, which is going to be its own task. You know, yeah, say at least an hour or so, just so that I can tidy up, vacuum stuff, yada yada. And then, yeah, I'll come back to contend with this. So thanks for stopping by, and I will catch you guys in a bit. Laters.